Hello everyone. In one of our previous sessions, we have learned about the different basic data types that there are existing in Python. We have also looked at how you define a string variable. A string variable is nothing but it's an object that we have created which belongs to class string or class str, right? In this session, we are going to broadly discuss about what are the operations that we can perform on string variables, what are the different built-in functions that we can make use of in order to perform necessary activities, what are the methods associated with the string object that we must have created, and how you perform necessary data cleaning activities using those methods. All right. So in our previous session, we have looked at performing operations on numerical data types. That is, it could be either integer or floating point. We have looked at performing various arithmetic operations. We are considering a couple of them now and apply that to the string variables that we are going to create now. So my string here, I'm assigning a value called learn, and AI underscore str would be AI, right? I'm assigning a value of AI to AI underscore string variable that I have defined just now. Let me add up both my string and AI string together, right? It has generated a concatenated output. So plus operator here is not an addition operation that we have seen in our earlier session, right? It's just a concatenation operation when we apply it on string objects or string variables here. So what exactly happens if we are going to apply this plus operator in between a string object and probably a value, a numerical value here? It won't accept, right? It throws an error saying that you can only concatenate strings, a string to a string and not a string to an integer. Of course, you can go about performing typecasting here, convert this particular integer to string so that you can concatenate these two together. Or of course, you can enclose this value in single quotes or double quotes so that it's converted into string now. Obviously, you can go about concatenating, but the produced result would be a concatenated output here. Either of these two would work just fine. All right. So my underscore str multiplied by a specific number would produce or replicate the existing text that it has n number of times, n being whatever value that you're providing here, right? I have provided the value of n as 4. So if I'm giving it as 2, it's going to multiply 2 different times or replicate the value 2 different times. So that's how plus and multiplication operations can be performed on string variables that we define. What about checking if a particular character is present in my underscore str or not? Is it present? No, it's not present. X is not present in my string. My string only has got these characters like LEARN, right? It does not have X. You can also go about checking if L is present in it or not. It's present, so it returns a true result, right? When you check the type of the result, obviously it will be Boolean. True or false is Boolean in nature. So the data type that's pertinent to either true or false would always be Boolean, right? In fact, you can go about defining a new variable called my underscore string, and you have machine learning that's present in the text that you are assigning to my string. You can go about checking if machine is present in my string or not. It's not present, right? Because you observe an init cap here in the word machine. It's not lowercase, right? I convert that to lowercase, then it returns true. If I leave it as uppercase, it doesn't return true, but rather it returns false. When you change this to not in, it's going to return true. So these sort of expressions are very much essential for us to perform some sort of logic in control flows, which we are going to discuss in our upcoming sessions. What are the different string functions or built-in functions that we can make use of in order to perform more activities? The length of my string would produce the number of characters that are existing in my string variable. Right? There are 16 different characters that are present in this particular my string variable, and hence the length is returned as 16. So where exactly is this particular built-in function useful? So whenever you want to check if any value is present in a particular string variable, it's very helpful to us, isn't it? Suppose there is a particular variable called no data, and you want to check if no data variable has got any data at all. It's going to return 0 to you. That indicates that you do not have any text present in it. I'm writing sample text here, so obviously it's going to return some length value to me because you have some data represented in this particular variable called no data. Right? That's where it's useful. You have other helper functions like ORD, which basically returns the corresponding, ORD basically evaluates what alphabet you are providing and it returns the corresponding ASCII value to you. You can also check what is the ASCII value for capital A, which returns 65. What is the ASCII value for small lowercase b? It's going to return 98. CHR actually does exact opposite to what we are seeing here. If we are providing 65 within this particular built-in function CHR, it's going to return capital A. You can also apply this on Unicode character values. For instance, if I'm giving 8364, it results in a Unicode character which is pound. You can provide any Unicode character or any Unicode value. So of course you are going to use this particular character and also perform inverse operation using ORD. Obviously it's going to return the corresponding Unicode value that it's possible for that particular character. I believe we have pretty much covered about the necessary built-in functions which are required to perform some set of activities on strings that we have looked at. We can also discuss about what are the different methods that are associated with any object that you must have defined. So I have defined an object called myString here. This is an object. You can very well go about checking what is the type of this particular variable and go about printing the type of that particular variable where you understand that this object that you have created is of class string. What are the different methods associated with this object? I provide dir. This is a function that helps me deduce what are the different methods that are associated with this object that we have defined. So there are various methods like isLawyer, isNumeric, isPrintable, lawyer, lstrip, and so on, right? You can investigate each one of them and try and understand what is the functionality pertinent to that particular method, right? I'm going to talk more about this with the help of an example here. All right. Let's consider a particular variable that we are defining now. I'm calling it as item sales, where item has got an init cap associated with it. Sales also has got an init cap associated with it. And there are two trailing spaces here, two trailing white spaces. I would want to convert this column name to item underscore sales, everything in lowercase. I'll call this as column name, right? There could be a column name in this manner. So you want to convert or change the column name in a more readable format, right? Like this. So what do? I make use of the method called rstrip. Rstrip is one of the methods pertinent to this particular object that we have created, which would trim the trailing white spaces that we have. It has trimmed off all the trailing white spaces. If you had leading white spaces, then obviously lstrip would trim the leading white spaces. But if you want to trim both leading and trailing white spaces, then strip is a method you need to look for where it trims off both of them. And then I'm going to apply lawyer, which would convert all the characters that are present within the string into lowercase, because that when you observe your resultant value, which you would want to have, everything is in lowercase. I should also replace this space that is there in between these two words into something like underscore. I go about using a method called replace. I want to replace this space with underscore. And that's it. You have this resultant value, which is exactly matching with what you wanted to have. So these are the various methods that we can make use of in order to perform necessary data cleaning that's required. There are various other means in which you can look at performing some set of activities, right? So what is my string here? So I want to make use of this title method here. Title method would convert the first letter or the first character within the first word to capital letter, and the first character in the second word also into capital letter, right? You can go about resetting my string or reinitializing my string with something like this, machine learning, and then re-execute this. So now it's enabling or it's converting the very first character in every single word it notices into capital letter or uppercase letter. You can convert everything to uppercase by using upper method. You also can go about capitalizing. So there is a there is a method called capitalize, which will help you to convert the very first character to capital letter or to uppercase. The rest all is converted to lowercase. So you observe that you have some letter here called A, which is in uppercase. So that's not going to consider that uppercase letter, but rather it's going to convert all the characters that are defined for that my string into lowercase except the very first one. So these are the various methods that you can explore. So in fact, you can go about checking what exactly is the functionality of this particular method by referring to its docstring. The docstring helps us understand what the functionality of that particular method is. So it returns a capitalized version of the string. Okay. So what is the docstring pertinent to lower method? Return a copy of string converted to lowercase. How about isLower? isLower is going to check if the string is completely defined in lowercase or not. If it is completely defined with lowercase characters, then it's going to return true. If not, it's going to return false. All right. These are the various methods that one can explore. You can also go about checking other methods that are defined here and explore more about them. Okay. But you have to notice one specific thing here, that your myString is not updated. So your myString had got the original value that you have defined. Though you have looked at converting all of these characters to uppercase or capitalizing, or probably you're looking at converting to isLower or checking if this is not relevant. If you are looking at converting all the characters that are defined for myString into lowercase, it doesn't matter because you are not reassigning that back to myString. I have not reassigned this back to myString. If I'm going to reassign this back to myString, then obviously I am going to look at the updated value in myString, right? I'm not reassigning as such, but rather I'm just looking at executing these methods that I'm invoking, right? So string is immutable in nature. Let's understand that string is immutable. So you cannot change the value pertinent to my string unless you override it. Earlier you have tried to override, right? But I'm not overriding it here in any manner. Though you are performing some operations on my string variable, you are not overriding the string as such. It's not changing or manipulating what the contents of the string has got. So none of the contents that the string has got is being mutated or being changed. And hence strings are always immutable in nature. You cannot mutate the contents of string by performing or any of the operations, like by invoking any methods like upper or lower or capitalize or whatever, right? So we have looked at covering most of the basic methods here. So in the subsequent session, we are also going to broadly discuss about how you perform indexing in strings, how you get the slices of strings that we have defined. We're also going to look at what are the different formatting styles that you can have on any text data that's defined for a particular string. That's all in this particular session, and thanks for watching.